when we are spending 40 to 50% of our lives at work, we need to have fun. And it's leadership's responsibility, accountability, honor in that position to make sure that we enjoy and have fun at work to deliver the result. As a business owner, I've struggled many years, decades, in terms of finding a way to make work fun. I've tried every single tactic and technique. Beanbags, I've painted the walls in the offices pink and blue. I've got creche ladies to come and look after my most valuable assets, kids at work, flexi hours, working from home, instant bonuses, you name it. I've tried everything over the last 18 years. However, there's one thing that I never tried, which I believe works extremely well, is workplace gamification. Now let me explain. Workplace gamification is not about playing games at work. That happens in training courses and team builds and so forth. Workplace gamification is a process-orientated application of fun. So what we're talking about is bringing fun to the workplace using gamification methodology. Okay, it's about having fun at work, however, exercising our work and our deliverables. Now, what I've done is I've taken the gamification concept and I've applied it to 2 project scoping sessions, 2 mergers and acquisitions of organizations, 2 companies, and I've taken it into 3 detailed planning sessions on strategic projects. So almost the highlights of what I've done over the past few months, obviously been restricted by COVID. The cherry on top was running a virtual webinar in Vietnam on workplace gamification, which reached out to over 150 participants in Vietnam. Now, this can be placed or used in any process, from business strategy formulation to business unit strategy planning, to budget planning, to project scoping, to objective setting, to motivating team members, improving processes in the organization, everything. So the methodology is simple. A very good partner of mine, Arthur Kumazi, one of the top thought leaders in culture and leadership in the world, designed a gamification methodology and process labeled Performentia. And I have followed this process on a number of occasions, as said, and it has brought extreme results. I want to take you through the process. Now, any output in an organization needs to be driven by the strategy of the organization, number one. And those strategies drive goals and they drive objectives in the business. And that is set out in every single business plan, and it's set out in every business. Well, hopefully, everybody knows what the strategy is, or the strategic intent. In terms of the workplace gamification methodology designed by Arthur Kumazi, we start with the goals. We start with plain and simple goals. No matter what we are trying to achieve, there needs to be justified goals, and we need to understand those goals. Once those goals are solidified and understood, we then move into the next phase of what behaviors do we as individuals and as a team, aligned to the values of the organization, have to perform to achieve the goals. And a synergistic behavioral culture will drive us to that success. Otherwise, we work in a very fragmented world of business. Once we've solidified the behaviors that support the goals of the organization, we then move into the emotional drivers. And it's what drives each individual within the team, within the organization, within the goal that we are trying to achieve. And everybody has different emotional drivers. And if we understand those emotional drivers individually and as a team, we'll be able to move on. Establishing that understanding, we then move over to theming. And theming is brand identity in terms of the goals that we are trying to achieve. It's creating an association. It's creating that badge that we wear on our t-shirt, that we live and strive for in attaining those goals. Through the behaviors that we understand, through the understanding of our emotional drivers, through a branded theme. So people believe in brands. And when we bring a brand to the game, the workplace gamification methodology, it creates interest. And when we have interest, we have participation. When we have participation, we have confidence. And when we have confidence, we have achievement. Once we've created the theme, we then need to move into the next process of gamification, is setting the mechanics. What are those things that we need to put in place that we can measure going forward? Strategy and goals cannot be attained or be realized if we cannot measure them, if we cannot put a number behind them, if we cannot put some tight measurement behind them, because otherwise we won't know if we are successful. The next process is defining the resources required from a recognition perspective. What are those, the bundle that we have in our basket on the table that we can reward, recognize, give people the kudos and the attaboys on their backs, and a way of saying thank you and we're proud of you. And I think you can see through this process up to this point in time, there's the development of the process is done by the team. It's not done by the boss or the CEO. It's created by the team through a collaborated process, facilitated process, having fun. The next process is defining our partners and our partners' requirements and our partners' emotional drives. Our stakeholders, who are positive, who wants us to win, who are neutral, and how do we deal with our partners through this journey, because they are a critical component in achieving the success of those goals that we set out right in the beginning. Once we've established the needs of our partners, we now go into most probably one of the most important parts of the journey through the workplace gamification is feedback. Everybody in an organization, everybody participating in a team, anybody participating in any sports event, in any family, in any school requires feedback. And those are typically driven by KPIs, our quarterly reports, our half-yearly reports, our annual reports. In terms of workplace gamification, it's about instant gratification. It's not about waiting right for these specific deliverable points to be met. It's about the recognition, the rewards, and the constant feedback, almost daily, to the teams. And based on the resources and the mechanics that have been identified, we now implement the feedback. And those are badges, it's the t-shirts, it's scoring points, it's allowing people to trade their points for purchasing things online, etc. It's even a pat on the back that everybody in the organization can see and can recognize. One of the feedback tools is something called Squadly. Now, Squadly we're going to focus on uniquely as a session in explaining how important and how wonderful Squadly is. And Squadly is, in short, a mobile app on your phone that we can instantly give gratification to our resources, and we can do it on a weekly, monthly, daily basis, and it gives the organization and the leadership a quick view of where we are in terms of those behaviors, meeting those emotional drivers based on the goals that we have set, living the theme of the initiative and the organization, understanding how these things tie together that we actually celebrate along the way. Once this part of the methodology has been covered, the last and extremely important is what are we going to do to meet the goals, the tactics. And I call it aim, ready, fire. Going through this entire process, we aim in at the goal. We are getting ready, following the process right through feedback. And now, when we get to how are we going to win, how are we going to reach these objectives, that's where we fire. And fire is initiating the plan. And then that feedback loop starts again. And we recognize where we can resolve issues. We recognize where good behaviors and good things are happening in all of our initiatives. To summarize, ladies and gentlemen, workplace gamification is making work fun. Doesn't matter what type of organization, what type of industry, what type of team makeup, that's not the point. The point is about when we are spending 40 to 50% of our lives at work, we need to have fun. And it's leadership's responsibility, accountability, honor in that position to make sure that we enjoy and have fun at work to deliver the results. And guaranteed, by following the principles and methodologies of workplace gamification, you will be more successful. You will be able to prioritize better, and you will have fun in achieving those results. Please don't forget to follow the channels and to subscribe. And we'll see you on the next KEV Talks.